Yo, it's Cash. And it's been 8 months with the 12.9-inch Magic Keyboard and the Sopiguard Skin. I want to go over a couple things that's happened with it and how it's held up. And I'm going to be going over the overall durability, the hinges, the typing experience, the trackpad, and some things that I wish that I had. Now, starting off with the material on the outside, it's a fingerprint and smudge magnet. Everyone knows it, everybody talks about it. Smudges are going to happen, scratches are likely, which is why I picked up the Skin by Sopiguard, which we'll go over later in the video. One thing I was worried about was bending and warping. Now, this is constantly in and out of a backpack, and traveling with this on flights, I haven't had any issues with it. I've accidentally knocked it off the bed, so at about 3 feet, and you can see where it landed here. If this would have landed anywhere on the spine or on the port, I'm sure there would have been some sort of issues. That was the first thing that happened. The second thing is about 2 weeks after getting it, I was on a flight and the flight attendant accidentally dropped a can unopened, thankfully, and it knocked off the left arrow key. It took me a little bit to get it back on, but once I did get it back on, everything has been working fine. No issues with the left arrow key at all. And then finally, the third, about a month ago, I spilled some coffee on it, cleaned it up pretty quick, and I still have no issues with this. There was some stickiness on a couple of the keys, but that's not there anymore. Overall durability, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. Taking off 1 just because of the smudges and the scratches that you can get on the outside of this keyboard. Now, at first I was a little bit worried about the second hinge point and it losing its firmness, but wherever you put it, it stays. And the main spine portion is still just as good as when I first got it. Now, a little side note about the spine, you could see that there's a little gap right here. And if you get a pebble in there and then you close it without knowing it, it could puncture through that outer layer. So as far as the hinge rating, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 just because it's... Actually, you know what? I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 because I still have a little bit of worries about the second hinge point. The typing experience has been amazing for me. It feels just like a laptop. You can see some wear on the keyboard from where I've been typing, which makes me wonder. And I never really noticed until now, but I only use my right thumb on the space bar. How many of you use both thumbs or just your left? Do you use 2 thumbs or 1? Now, you will get some dust and dirt on the keyboard, and if you're really worried about it, you can get a dust cover, but I just like to wipe it down every couple days. So the rating on this, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 just because the durability that I mentioned earlier, it's been holding up very well. The typing experience is great, so again, 5 out of 5 for the keyboard. Now, the trackpad is a really nice size, but for me personally, I wouldn't call it perfect. I would like it to have a little bit more depth into the keyboard. It is wide enough, but that depth is something, a personal preference for me, I would like. Now, the trackpad is still very responsive, clicks are nice, and it's just a real smooth experience that I really like. But I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 because I wish it had that little bit more depth into the keyboard, but I understand they only had so much room to work with, which is why they also took out the function keys, which leads me into things that I wish that it had. Functionality keys I can do without, although volume control and brightness control are 2 things that I wish this had. Doesn't, but it is something that can be implemented into iPadOS. Now, I have found a way to control the volume and the brightness and some other things with the Magic Keyboard, so if that's something that you want to see, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Now, the overall rating is going to be a 4 out of 5 because it's not perfect. Not a lot of products are, but would I still spend $350 on it again? And I do believe it's overpriced, but I believe I would. It's very well made, it's very durable, it's held up through the 3 things that I told you I put it through. It's been amazing for me. Now, how about that Sopiguard Skin? Now, I try to keep this clean and off dirty surfaces, but that's not always the case given the fact of where I work. There are times where I do set it on places that have a lot of dust and dirt and whatnot that can cause scratches, and I don't see any. Now, earlier this year, just to make sure, I did take some dirt and gravel and scrubbed it on the bottom of the Sopiguard Skin just to make sure it didn't scratch up, and there's no scratches. I haven't had any kind of peeling anywhere. The adhesive is holding up very well, even with this constantly in and out of a backpack. Now, I really want to see how this peels off, if it leaves any adhesive on there, and even if it does, I'm pretty sure it will clean up. With the surface protectors that left adhesive, and I just took an alcohol wipe and scrubbed it off. Now, as far as the scratch durability, I don't know if that's because of the honeycomb blue texture that I have. I don't know how well the smooth ones will hold up to scratches. Now, if I'm being real nitpicky, you can see some faint wear on the edges on the bottom, but you really have to look to notice them. Now let me know down below if I missed anything, or if there's something that you would have liked to hear or see that you didn't. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. Most importantly, have a good day.